on Monday night. We're here with a postcast. I'm with Access Twins writer Brandon Warren. Brandon, Twins split this series with the Mariners. They dropped the first two. They win the next two. What's your instant reaction to this 4-game set?
Kind of amazing that they were as close as they were to sweeping it. I mean, again, baseball is, small breaks either way can change things, but Gary Sanchez almost ends the opener with a walk-off home run, and then that Byron Buxton home run, I bet you were running around the house like grandma on Happy Gilmore getting excited about that one. So yeah, I think you got to come away feeling pretty pleased. And we saw a lot of encouraging signs from players we probably didn't expect to, including most notably tonight, Johan Duran. I want to make sure I say it correctly, hitting 102 on that last pitch. Holy smokes, we have not seen heat like that in quite some time.
Crazy. I just tweeted, looked back from Thursday, and we're talking about a 4 or 5 day sample, but it is the hardest thrown pitch in baseball this year. Johan Duran hits 102 on the gun. Absolutely insane. This game started with Dylan Bundy right out of the gate, Brandon. I think we could tell in his first inning, really sharp command, especially with the slider. The changeup looked nasty tonight, spotting up the fastball on good counts. Can kind of think of it, Kenta Maeda, when Kenta Maeda is going really well, I kind of compare it to him in terms of his command. And then because his fastball is only 90-91, it'll get on guys quickly because of the splitter, because of that slider. What do you think of Dylan Bundy tonight in his Twins debut?
Yeah, it's clear he doesn't have the big-time stuff he had when he was the number one overall prospect in baseball, but guys go from throwers to pitchers. We hear it all the time of guys who can throw it by people at 96, and then they have to reinvent themselves. It happened with Felix Hernandez, and it didn't really work out for him. It happened with Tim Lincecum. It didn't really work out for him. And then Justin Verlander had that lull in his career where he threw hard, then he didn't throw so hard anymore, and we thought he might be washed. And then he came back. And I mean, again, now he's throwing hard again. But the evolution of the pitcher is always so curious. And Bundy's arm, relative to what you might expect, is not going to have as much mileage on it because he was an up-down guy. He kind of worked in different roles. So, I mean, if he's going to be pitching like he did tonight, in the sense that he's not lighting up the gun, but he's spotting everything, moving in and out of the zone, up and down, all that stuff, I mean, there's no reason he can't give him a quality start more often than not, which for a guy who started your fourth game of the season, that's a lot more than you usually get from a guy like that.
Speaking of quality start, get a quality start to your day with Built Bar. Built Bars are delicious. Built Bars are healthy. My dad, my mom, they steal the Built Bars, get sent back home, and they eat them before I even know that they're there. Built Bars are delicious, but Built Bars, as I said, I don't know how they do it. They're super healthy. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order of Built Bars. Brandon, Twins outscore the Mariners 14-10 in this series in a 4-game set, and I think the top of this Mariners lineup, not just this weekend, seeing it in action, but preseason expected to be pretty good. So this was a great performance, I think, up and down from the Twins pitching staff.
Yeah, and that top five went 0 for 19 tonight with 3 strikeouts. So, I mean, they didn't get really lit up. And granted, Bundy only struck out 2 over his 5 innings. I'll have to go back and look at the swinging strike numbers because that usually shows us pretty good numbers of dominance. I'm seeing, only 6 swinging strikes, 67 pitches. That's not horrible. But 5 strikeouts, you're not going to strike out a ton of guys on a night where, you're hitting 90, 91, 92. And so we'll see how Bundy settles in there. But to keep the top 5 off base, I think Winker had a walk. Otherwise, it was pretty clean, smooth sailing for 20 plate appearances for Twins pitching. I mean, that's a recipe for success no matter what. When you get a combined 2-hitter, again, you take your cap off to every single guy who threw a ball for the Twins tonight. They all looked phenomenal. And at the end of the series, outside of that Tyler Duffy blip on the radar, which he came back and looked a lot better tonight, pretty fired up when he came off the mound, you've got to be encouraged with what you've seen through 4 games from this pitching staff. Now you get to see the Chris's, Paddock and Archer. I think I got him in the wrong order, but I'm curious to see how that's going to go too, because Paddock's faced the Dodgers a lot, being an NL West guy. So we got a lot of intrigue coming up here, and I know you're going to want to preview that, so I don't want to steal all of your thunder.
We will get to that at the end of the show. The story was the pitching tonight. I think the story tonight was Dylan Bundy and the bullpen, but the Twins offense, it looked like they left opportunities on the table early in this game, and they were only up 1-0 in the 5th inning. And it was one of those where you didn't feel comfortable. It's a 1-run lead, and they busted through in the 5th, and they have 5 hits. They score, 3 runs, they get up 4-0. And then at that point, it did feel like they were going to go on to win this game. I think over the last couple of days, the offense has really kicked it into gear. Some guys are struggling. Miguel Sano's 0-for. We're not surprised by that. But what's been your impression of this offense overall in 4 games, Brandon?
And my biggest concern with Sano was the plate appearance against Sergio Romo, because you face a guy like Romo twice in the same series, and you'd hope that you'd take something into that second plate appearance to look a little more comfortable. And again, Sergio right on right, submariner, it's always going to be hard, but it just felt like he didn't make that necessary adjustment. But when you look at the rest of this offense, again, outside of Alex Kirilloff, who finally got his first hit of the season, up and down, I mean, you're looking at guys who are more or less doing their jobs. You want to see Max Kepler swinging a little better, but through 4 games, we don't know that much. Byron Buxton reaching 3 times tonight, though. I mean, you cannot be more thrilled with what he's doing. And you know that Louis Urias is going to be virtually impossible to strike out. So now it's just a matter of get Carlos Correa kind of swinging, get Max Kepler, Alex Kirilloff. One thing I thought about tonight, though, while I was watching the game was there's like this group of 7 to 10 maybe 11 guys that could carry this offense if they get hot over an extended period. Like, absolutely. If you look at Gio Urshela, who is not in any way probably one of the top 5 to 7 hitters on the team, you could see a stretch where he could hit 550 for 2 weeks and push the Twins to 9 wins over that span, or 10 wins in a 14-game span. That balance is going to be phenomenal for this offense when guys kind of ebb and flow. Like, I mean, right now we're seeing Carlos Correa hitting $125. Exactly. That's not going to last for very long. And in the meantime, they're 10 hits, 3 walks, getting on base, scoring runs for the most part. You gotta like what you see.
Something I did like coming into this year, everybody outside of Kirilloff has succeeded at some point in the majors, and a lot of them in a big-time way. And Kirilloff is a global top 20 prospect as recent as 2 years ago. Offense looked good. Offense looked great yesterday. Brandon, when you look forward for this team, when Twins fans are watching this weekend, didn't look like there were a ton at Target Field, but we get it. It's April. It's a weekday. Is this team right out of the chute after 4 games, does it feel different to you now than it did last year?
Yeah, it does. And I say that because, I don't know, it's a new faces thing, and I'm trying not to think too much into it. But the identity of this team is different, and I don't know if it's as simple as bringing in the Yankees guys and swapping out Josh Donaldson, because I have nothing against Donaldson. I thought he was a great player. Yeah. He did exactly what the Twins could have wanted when he was healthy. But the team just has a different vibe and feel and identity with Buxton at the top, Correa number 2. And that's kind of the power structure, too, and the hierarchy. Everyone follows the vibe of Buxton. Carlos Correa is that guy who's been there. I mean, you got a guy with the moxie. He's won a ring. He's done everything you could ever want to do on the Major League Baseball field, and he's still only in his late 20s. So, I mean, the vibe of this team to me is in such a better place than it was even last year when they had a good start and then everything kind of crumbled.
It feels like to me, maybe it's way too early. It is way too early. It feels like to me the criticism will be different if Carlos Correa struggles for a period than it was for Josh Donaldson. I can't quite put a number on that. As you said, you don't want to get too cerebral thinking about it, but I agree with you. The vibe does feel different. It feels like maybe a team with this 6-man rotation. Could the floor be higher for this team, Brandon? Could it be better in April because they have that 6-man rotation of potentially 6 guys who can give you a chance to win every 6th day?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question, and I even brought that up too as tonight's starter Chris Flexen struggled with his pitch count after throwing like 24 pitches in the first inning. They had to go to the well twice for longer stints with their bullpen, and again, these are teams that have 28 guys instead of 26, like they will in a few weeks now. But the Twins are going to have that depth that's going to allow them to kind of mix and match a little more and stretch guys out and be a little more protected against these shorter starts. And that 6-man rotation, I mean, if you asked me to take somebody out of it at the outset, it would be very hard for me to pick one of them because Chris Archer was so encouraging in spring training in that backfield session that they talked about with Wes Johnson with the good velo and good breaking stuff. And Paddock, I mean, he does a lot of things that you could really want from a pitcher. He throws hard. He has good command. He's basically Michael Pineda if Michael Pineda threw 5 miles an hour faster. So the pieces are in place for this to be a very good ball club. It's just a matter of if they push the right buttons and guys get hot at the right time. But I see a path to this being a very, very good ball club, and it's not going to be that difficult to hit their marks.
Twins favored today. They were minus 130 favorites, I believe, at first pitch. They hit. If you think the Twins will win tomorrow, go to BetOnline. BetOnline.net, brand new mobile website. They got the great app. It's an awesome interface. And with baseball starting, with the NBA playoffs coming, the NHL playoffs coming, it's a great time to play. Head over to betonline.net. We urge you. It's really a great site. Brandon, let's preview this Dodgers-Twins series. Starts tomorrow. There's rain in the forecast, and we should mention Seattle going to Chicago to play the White Sox, so we'll be Mariners fans this week. Rain in the forecast for Twins-Dodgers, and I don't know if they'll play tomorrow, but if they do, it's Andrew Heaney taking on Chris Archer. What should Twins fans be looking for in game one of this series?
Yeah, it's going to be unconventional lineups again because they're going to play back-to-back lefties in Heaney and Kershaw, and we can talk more about Kershaw after tomorrow's game, but Heaney is a guy that the Twins, I believe, targeted this offseason and have targeted before. Another guy who is kind of a classic change of scenery, does a lot of things that you'd like to see a pitcher do, but hasn't put it all together quite yet. Kind of guy, lots of strikeouts, not as many walks as some guys with that many strikeouts would have, but just hasn't put it all together, almost like a Robbie Ray light. And, Robbie put it together last year in Toronto, and now he makes $100 million over 5 years. And so it's going to be curious. But again, there's going to be people complaining because Gio Urshela is going to hit cleanup both games probably and all that. But honestly, I'm just curious to see what these Dodgers look like up close and personal, because you see a team and you think they can't get any more talented, and then they trade for Trey Turner and they go out and sign Freddie Freeman, and you're just like, the rich really can get richer, and you just don't even know how it's possible.
I would think Louis is going to DH in one of these games, and
probably
may DH in the other. Wait and see, Mo. We never know with these lineups. Thank you so much, Brandon. We'll be back tomorrow. As you said, we'll preview that second game of the series with Kershaw and Paddock. I do want to ask you, Chris Archer tomorrow, what would be a good start, a strong start, if you're a Twins fan and you're watching Archer in his debut?
I mean, I think it's too much to ask him to do what Bundy did in terms of raw results, but if he can give you a 5 and dive with, maybe 2-3 earned runs and keep you in the game, I don't know what his velo is going to look like, his spin rates, his breaking stuff. We have such limited information, and he signed so late. But if he keeps you in the game, that's really all you can ask for, because, again, this Dodgers team, 1 through 9, I mean, you got Gavin Lux hitting 9th, and you got
insane.
Yeah, it's incredible the type of players that they run out there on a daily basis. So if Archer gives you, I'll even say 4 and 2 earned runs, you have a chance, because then Josh Winder probably comes in, and that's going to be tough. It's going to be daunting. Kid's big league debut, piggybacking off Archer. That's scary against the Dodgers, but it's at home, and you got to debut sometime. So I'm hopeful and excited for us to also see Josh Winder at some point.
Dodgers Twins kicks off tomorrow at Target Field, 2-game series, day game Wednesday, night game Tuesday. Then the Twins go to Fenway Park right after. We'll have it all for you on POSTCAST. Brandon, thank you so much. We'll talk again tomorrow after hopefully another Twins win, string 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 together. Hopefully that's the case. Brandon, thank you.
And a Timberwolves win too. Let's hope.
Yes. Timberwolves in the play, and check out Lockdown Wolves.